phone station.
Phone station, business for 4 hours at the phone station today. We had a good crew there on a chilly morning. No frost on the windshield, but man, it was a little brisk. Well worth getting up and getting to the phone station, though. We had a lot of good representation from the business community there. Chamber members and some non-chamber members showing up for the event. It was good discussion and good getting caught up.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, you were at a tourism conference last month, if I remember right.
Last week, actually.
It was last week.
In Bemidji, Minnesota. It's a good event, good speakers.
I mean, that was in the middle of a snowstorm, too, right?
We missed the snowstorm. It didn't make it that far north. So as all of the southern Minnesota attendees were getting the text messages and calls from our loved ones that, hey, I'm going to need some help shoveling. We were up enjoying clear skies, and you could see all the way across the lake in town even. So it was just very nice weather up there when we were there.
Did you go ice fishing?
I didn't get a chance. I was really hoping to. In fact, from my hotel room, I could see, I counted from my hotel room 55 fish houses out on the lake, and they also had cleared off a curling.
Oh, cool.
What do you call it? A curling court, a curling sheet probably of ice that they had cleared off on the lake there. An outdoor competition. Is pretty cool.
Have you ever curled?
I haven't. I haven't. I've watched it, of course, and if you're in Duluth, they've got a huge indoor, the Duluth Curling Club. They've got their own bar and grill and the whole thing up there. And I think they've got about 24 lanes of curling up there.
You
can watch it. You can watch.
In Minnesota, it's pretty big. You know, our curling Olympic teams always have Minnesotans on it.
Of course, they we're close to Canada, and they know exactly how to throw those chunks of granite down the ice.
You're kidding? We're close to Canada? I didn't know that.
You know the brooms that they use?
Yep.
I did learn that there are two purposes for those brooms. So as the granite's going down the ice, you sweep in front of the granite to help clear the ice so that it slides quickly, and then it gets down toward the end. You try to push a little of that dust in front to slow it down. Now, I had a friend of mine in college who was from Bemidji. His dad actually sharpened Zamboni blades. So that's about as Minnesota as you can get, right?
Yeah, you can say that.
But Ron described to me what it was about and how sometimes some of the rabble-rousers during PE class where they had curling as part of the curriculum, some of the boys would cheat and they'd keep either a little kitty litter or a little bit of sand in their pocket.
Oh, yeah.
So to slow that piece of granite down and get it to land in the right spot, they'd drip a little of that out of their pocket. Now, is that sort of like the, was it
deflating
Phil Necro, right? Cheating with the stuff on his gloves, sort of the same principle, right? Scuff the ice instead of scuff the ball with sandpaper.
Balls and football. All of little things that supposedly give you an advantage.
But the conference was real good.
Well, that's fantastic.
Great speakers. Lieutenant Governor was there, shared some thoughts, and we had a chance. By we, I'm talking about some folks right from our little mini region here. Had a chance to show off a new brand that we've developed to help promote the Faribault, Northfield, Owatonna areas for tourism.
So a regional approach.
Exactly. The mini road trip, M-I-N-N-E. So mini for Minnesota, but and road trip. And what we've done, the tourism directors for these three towns, is put an effort together to promote together. As we bundle up our offerings, there's a really compelling package that would require somebody to book an overnight.
Well, yeah,
in any one of the three
place
towns.
Would be terrible because you're right between Northfield and Owatonna.
I agree.
You sly guy, you. Anyway, we're going to take a market update, and then we'll talk more about the tourism conference. And I know you got a fundraiser coming up for the Mainstreet program that we want to touch on, a big pajama party or something.
The flannel formal.
I'm sorry.
Although pajama party does sound fun, we could maybe subtitle it pajama party, Gordy.
It's the flannel formal.
The Faribault flannel formal.
Okay, we'll get details of that when AM Minnesota continues. More information, go to the website, prairiebrandseeds.com, or you can call Prairie Brand Seed Dealer in the Faribault area, Milt Olson. On AM Minnesota today, Nort Johnson is with us. He's the Community Marketing Director for the City of Faribault. He was at a tourism conference last week. We visited at the Chamber with Kim Anderson last week, Nort.
I'm sorry?
We were at the chamber. We were in Kim's office doing the show last week because
I was out of
she had
town.
that hip problem. I didn't want to make her come here in the ice, and it was a snowy day, so we went out to the chamber.
That's awesome. How accommodating. How
Well,
accommodating. And yeah, and Kim's doing fantastic post-injury.
Yep.
And is enjoying a little time off after the gala last week. Big chamber gala last weekend. Also well attended. Lots of fun.
It went well?
It did. It did. The American Legion did a great job with the food and the hosting of it.
And the dueling pianos were awesome?
They were fun. And this was the first time that I had been to a dueling pianos performance where both of the performers were women. A couple of young gals, mid-late 20s, and they were a lot of fun. They engaged the audience pretty well, and it was a good time.
Well, that's fantastic. It was packed?
It was. It was practically a sold-out show again, and yeah, good participation from the city of Faribault. Had good representation at the chamber banquet this year. That was fantastic. Strong relationship between the biggest business organization in town, which is the chamber, and the city. It's important. It's really really helpful when it comes to helping move the city forward. So.
By the way, on AM Minnesota Friday, Dusty Dienst, our fire chief, will be with us.
Awesome.
We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about extension cords.
Very good.
We're going to talk about carbon monoxide detectors. We're going to talk about
Very
ice
important.
dams.
Ice dams can cause big problems.
Those are just some of the things that we...
Make sure you ask them how progress is on the improvements at the fire hall.
Oh, sure.
You'll want to cover that, too.
Yeah, we did talk about that before, but yeah, we can get another update.
That had been a long time coming. I'm glad they're getting that done. It's important to keep up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there was talk years ago about adding another fire station, but I guess that's out the door.
Is it out the door? I think if you're
on the east side.
Okay. I think if you're centrally located and they're pretty close, really, to the viaduct and
well,
the passageway.
The theory there was if something happens to the viaduct, you have to get to the east side.
The fire trucks up and down Ravine Street, they won't fit on that footbridge or that bike path bridge, so Ravine Street would be the next. Yeah. Otherwise, it's a long way around, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's why there was that talk at one time.
Very good.
But I don't think we're growing that way anymore, are we?
It doesn't appear to be. It appears we're more in a northerly direction and southerly direction.
Right. Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like in another 20 years, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if I'm here 20 years from now.
So hey, we were touching base a little bit on that tourism conference before we went to break and heard the market report, and I did want to share that it was a very good conference, and there's some glaring opportunities, I think, for Faribault. And one of those, something that was, I think, less notable than it could be within the state of Minnesota's marketing approach right now, we don't talk a lot about our Native American history. That's a very huge tourism draw, especially for European travelers. If they can get a real American story, early American story, Native American story, they seek those things out. So in the last few days since the conference, sort of that swirling around in my mind, I've been digging into a little bit of the history of Faribault, just a little bit, just scratching the surface, and we've got some really compelling stories with regard to the Dakota Uprising and
Bishop Whipple. Traveling to our nation's capital to lobby President Abraham Lincoln to, not hang all those Native Americans.
That's from right here, right in our own backyard. So, looking forward to seeing what we can put together in Faribault, and maybe right up and down the river here with Northfield and Owatonna as partners. What would a Native American tourism attraction packet look like? This will be a few years in the development. I don't want to get anybody thinking something's going to happen, this spring. But I've seen some success with those types of venues in the past. And
well, sure, in South Dakota you probably,
absolutely, absolutely. Do you remember with Brule? They're a Native American performing group. their mantra is they support healing through music, and they're absolutely fantastic. They had a show in Branson, Missouri, an in-house show for years, and they just settled into the High Country Guest Ranch, built them a venue near Hill City, South Dakota. First year out of the gate, they're packed. They've just done a fantastic job out there. So, not entirely sure if we could do anything on that scale. However, we do know that, again, that'd be a very positive draw for visitors, as the rest of our history is, our rich Faribault history. So,
I love the idea of the regional approach, though. I mean, why do we all sit on our own little islands trying to, you know, in terms of tourism, when we can approach it regionally? It makes perfect sense.
I agree completely. And you don't give up your identity entirely. We certainly, the bulk, almost all of our tourism promotion expenditures are still about Faribault, because we're fantastic as a standalone. But we also know that there's a lot of strength in having a little broader and wider product offering, especially when it comes to generating overnights.
Well,
so,
think about the differences here.
Yeah.
We're not that far apart. Northfield is a different community entirely from Faribault.
It has an entirely different feel.
Same with Owatonna.
But all three, full of history,
right.
Great restaurants, and when you package up the shopping opportunities, we've got unique shops in Faribault. You've got, well, Cabela's is a destination in and of itself.
Sure.
On the Owatonna side, and then Northfield's downtown, very cool. So packaging that all together, along with some of our other really cool retail stops, Faribault's got some, well, the Woolen Mill, and the Cheese Cave, a couple of, you know, hallmark heritage products that exist right here. Fantastic pieces of the visitation puzzle. So, fortunate. But marketing the three groups together, we did spend quite a bit of time on the process of deciding how could we best do that. And one of the things that the three people at the table decided was it'd be much easier if we put our own city's identities on the back burner, so to speak, and come up with a brand or an identity that would be all three of us together. The messaging is much clearer that way, and that's when the long conversation brought us around to using Mini Road Trip as our little three-town destination. Very well received. The University of Minnesota has reviewed our material, the tourism department there, and great feedback from them. I didn't hear directly from the state of Minnesota, but indirectly I've heard that they're paying attention, and they think that the work that we've done is pretty solid as well. So that's fun.
Geez, I didn't realize the University of Minnesota had a tourism department.
They do. It's part of the extension service. Part of the extension service. In fact, they're our Faribault Tourism Commission right now is reviewing an advanced tourism assessment study that the University of Minnesota conducted for us. We shared expense with that, with the city of Faribault, to have this study done. And we challenged the university, and they accepted, to do something a little bit more in-depth and broader than what they had done in the past. And that the study results are in the hands of the Tourism Commission right now. They're all reviewing that, and the University of Minnesota is going to be at our Tourism Commission meeting later this month to discuss and review the results of that assessment. We had 10 or 15 tourism experts that came to Faribault on behalf of the University of Minnesota. They were sort of doing the secret shopper. And they went off as individuals and as partners, and checked out our offering, not just in Faribault, but in the immediate area. And much of their feedback is included in the report that we're reviewing now, designed to help us understand who we are, also help us understand where our gaps truly are. Are there things that we should steer development to that would help us enhance our tourism product? In other words, if we need zip lines, or if we need to do a little bit more with some of the elevated single track biking trails along the bluffs by the river, are those things that we could do that people would seek out? one of the things that we know our community is getting right now, travel for unique craft beer destinations is big. As you know, Faribault was blessed to have a group of people put together the F-Town Brewery. That's big. That's one of those things that has been identified in the past, and we've developed toward that. We've had investment toward that, which is positive. We'll use this study to see if there are other things we can do to further enhance and promote more visitation. And the great thing about that, Gordy, when you think about it, if you're developing things in your community that people would come to take part in, that people would want to do or want to see, that's typically pretty good for the locals as well, to have that particular amenity. Well, I don't want to make a big F-Town commercial out of this, however, I know for a fact that a lot of locals are enjoying F-Town, not just visitors. They do have a large amount of their business does come from out of town, but nice little amenity.
Does Owatonna and does Northfield have their own niche in that market, or are we unique here?
Northfield does. Owatonna is seeking to develop that, and certainly that would be a welcome addition. It
Sure.
becomes part of the craft brewery trail as part of the mini road trip. So yeah, all good stuff.
Well, I know a lot of people go to Cannon Falls and they get a vineyard over there. And
vineyards are still big. The craft breweries are taking them over. A study indicates that market won't plateau for another 15 years.
You're talking the
craft brewery market. I'm going to find that study because I really thought maybe we'd be heading to that peak a little bit sooner than that. So it'd be interesting to find out exactly where that came from. So
15 years.
I'll try to report back on that next time we visit and see if I get a little more information.
So let's talk about your pajama party.
The pajama party, the Faribault Flannel Formal. It's a fundraiser for Main Street, and as you know, we've got a group of volunteers, and I'm a staff member. Part of my work is to help organize and promote the Main Street program in town, and funding's important. Advertising costs money to promote events. A lot of the work that we do requires purchasing some things, so we need some budget, and we're fundraising to help enhance our budget right now. And the idea came up for something that was a little bit more laid back, not totally dress up, but actually Mr. Paul Swenson, who's on our board of directors, brought the idea to our organization committee to have a flannel formal fundraiser. It comes from Notre Dame. Evidently, Minnesota students at the University of Notre Dame every year have a flannel formal, and it's the thing. If you're not a Minnesota student, you're seeking out a Minnesota student to invite you to this event because it's so much fun.
Wow.
And they've got sort of lumberjack themed games, and it's the flannel formal. It's a big deal. So we're putting one together, and it's going to be on April 2nd. We're going to have it at F-Town. There will be live music. There will be complimentary. Your ticket for the event, by the way, we're styling it just a little bit after an old-fashioned kegger. So you buy a cup to get in the event. Okay, that'll include a craft beer fill, one craft beer fill. Potluck, Minnesota hot dish potluck style. So we'll be encouraging people to bring your favorite hot dish, or casserole, is it? I think hot dish in Minnesota. We're gonna have a King and Queen flannel coronation. So we'll be taking nominations for King and Queen flannel for downtown Faribault. We'll have some games and lumberjack beard competitions. So everybody out there that thinks they may attend, start unshaving now. You have a chance to win a prize in that. And then we'll have other opportunities to win prizes. We'll have a bonfire. It's going to be a lot of fun.
A bonfire downtown?
Yes, sir. They had a bonfire at in the same location for the Snow Crush event that Riverbend Nature Center just hosted. That was the Fat Tire bike race, and they had a good number of participants, most of them from out of town. And then the celebration and awards ceremony afterward with the bonfire and some food, etc. And 300 attendees for that. So we had a bonfire in downtown Faribault. It's fantastic.
Again, this is April 2nd.
April 2nd.
The day after April Fools.
That's correct. That's correct. And look for a little marketing on that. Entry's going to be just $20. Just $20, and that will include your souvenir first annual Faribault Flannel Formal Cup, or as you call it, the pajama party.
April 2nd is a Saturday.
That's correct. That's correct. We'll start late in the afternoon. People can have hot dish and a bonfire and some beer. It's going to be a good time, and it'll be for a good cause. As you know, the Vision 2040 really pointed to downtown Faribault as a big source of pride for our residents, and we want to do everything that we can as a Main Street organization to maintain and improve downtown Faribault.
There are some buildings filling up downtown, right, Nort?
There are.
I was taping our Boss Floors segment for this morning with Ann Boss yesterday. She said somebody was moving in across the street from them.
Fantastic.
Right?
Yep.
Can you tell us who?
I can't.
You can't?
I can't.
Nort.
I'm sorry. I'll fill you in more on the next visit.
Is it soon though? Is it coming soon?
I think so. I think so. And there's also some positive movement on another key property downtown. I don't have much information on that.
Well, the Mill City, former Boston's rest. I've heard somebody's going in there too.
I have. My knowledge is that there have been a number of inquiries on the property.
Of course, it's perfectly located, nice building.
It is. It's a great spot. It's a great spot. So, in that there's, again, I don't know, and if I did, I guess I probably wouldn't be able to share at this point. But it would be awesome to have another anchor attraction or business downtown. Just helps. We've got great eating downtown, great shopping now, and certainly plenty of fun to be had. Nightlife in Faribault is fantastic. We do if you folks do the Facebook out there, become a friend of Faribault Mainstreet. We put every week we throw an announcement out there toward the end of the week that shows everything going on downtown. And there's something every week. There's music, there's events. It's a great place for fun nightlife.
Well, of course, everybody probably knows Alexander's is no longer in business, but Pub 31 stayed open.
Pub 31 stayed open, and you know that space that was vacated by Alexander's is available now for them to use as Pub 31 becomes busier and maybe expand some of the things that they're up to. So
well, and they may need that space because, you know, from what I hear at the Pancake and Sausage Feast, the Lions on Sunday, you know, the Eagles are not going to be with us, that bigger portion of the building.
Right.
That houses wedding receptions and, well, our pancake breakfasts.
Right.
We need some more space that does that in town. Obviously the Legion does it, but
the Legion, Casey's has some room, but yeah, that space could be used, I think, for a number of different things. That Pub 31, it's fun, and you know, the fare is very good. We had lunch there. I think it was just last week, my honey and I. No, it was the week before. And my honey Shelley she's kind of a cuisine, and
particular about her food, eh?
Yes. And she said that burger that she had was quite possibly the best burger she had ever had.
Wow, that's saying something.
At the lunch there. I don't remember which one it was, but it was stacked up and it looked delicious. I went a different direction for lunch that day, but food's awesome.
You went salad route?
I probably did go salad route.
No, that's okay. I'm not a big salad guy, but all right, folks. Make sure you take in that party. I'm sure we'll talk about more about that in future programs. But April 2nd, circle it on your calendar. So Flannel Formal.
The Faribault Flannel Formal at F-Town. There's a lot of F's in there. It's a good letter. It's a good letter.
Well, not really. If you're a kid in school, you don't like that letter.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we should change that. Maybe they should flip the scale. F can be on the top. But no, it'll be a great event for a great cause, and it's going to be fun. It really will be. Yeah, get out your favorite flannel. your Elmer Fudd hunting hats, and you're suggesting pajamas. Is that really sort of the direction
Well,
that you're
no,
going
you
with
said
it?
flannel formal. The first thing that popped into my head was
It
pajamas.
was the pajamas, so they'll be welcome. They'll be welcome, whatever works out. So
I guess I don't. What is a flannel formal? I'm trying to picture this in my head.
well, just imagine maybe a flannel tuxedo or your official well-ironed lumberjack shirt. Just looking good.
Okay.
It's a play on the formals and the galas, which are very important, and we have a lot of those that are fantastic events.
Right.
This is the flannel version of it. In other words, it's a little bit dressed down, a little less programmed, and the fun is of a little bit different nature. It'll be a good time.
Now, you're gonna have log rolling and that sort of thing.
We're gonna have a beaver toss competition. So, yes, the first annual beaver toss competition. It's we're talking beanbag beavers.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had me thinking there.
Okay, had you thinking, huh? So, yeah, should be a good time.
These little varmints be.
Toss environments.
Anyway, Nort, we certainly appreciate your stopping by today.
Always a pleasure.
Telling us all about the April 2nd event. Not long after that, the Lakers will probably be in.
Right on. Right on. Lakers will be going.
We're not that far away from spring, which is awesome.
Right. Hey, quickly, Pints and Vines event for the Paradise Center for the Arts. Another fun event, good fundraiser. Tickets are available. Check the Paradise Center for the Arts website for more information.
Yep, Pints and Vines. So again, this flannel
formal, April 2nd.
Be on April 2nd, so take that in too. Thanks again, Nort.
You bet.
Appreciate
Thank you
very much. So that concludes today's edition of AM Minnesota. I don't have a show for tomorrow yet. We'll try and find something for tomorrow. I don't know why we don't, but we have Dusty with us on Friday talking about, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about safety with extension cords, carbon monoxide detectors, ice dams. Those are just a few of the topics we thought about talking about. You're in tune to KDHL AM in Faribault.